Welcome back to your nightmares, my children. This is Mr. Midnight speaking. I welcome you all to my humble abode. So today, we will look at two 3 a.m. scary stories that will make you think twice before waking up in the middle of the night. Let's begin. And always remember, the darkness always follows. I will now leave you with my narrator, so enjoy.
So I'm taking my dog out for a walk at 3 a.m. when I see a young kid riding his bike. Quick preface, I live out in the country in the American Midwest on the edge of a forest. Kind of middle of nowhere farmland. But there's still other houses around, although they are really spread out. Outskirts, I guess you could say, very dark and quiet at night. A few streetlights, but mostly just moonlight. I normally take my dog outside late at night before I go to bed. Nothing fancy. Just a quick walk up and down the road so she can pee before we settle in for the night. Well, tonight around 3 a.m. I'm walking my dog along the edge of the road outside of my house and I see something coming towards me along the side of the road. It's hard to make out at first because, like I said, there's very few streetlights out here. As it gets closer though, I can tell it's a kid riding his bike. He looks like he's 7 or 8 years old. I'm standing there a little bit confused about what a child of this age would be doing riding his bike down the road at this hour of the night. When he gets closer, he stops his bike dead in its tracks and just stares at me. After a few seconds, I speak up. Are you okay? I ask him. He doesn't reply. Just keeps intently staring at me. Kid, do your parents know you're out here this late at night? Again, he just stares at me. You lost? Do you need me to call your parents to come get you? I say as I slide my cell phone out of my pocket. The kid just starts laughing. Not like innocent childish laughter. He is full on laughing, like I am the punchline of some huge cosmic joke. He is laughing the way an adult would laugh, not the way a kid watching cartoons would laugh. It's hard to explain. It just wasn't normal coming from a young boy. I am a bit freaked out at this point and not quite sure what to do. On a dark country road with a 7-year-old kid laughing at me at 3 a.m. in the morning, I decide to make my way back to my house and call the cops to report a missing kid or something. Stay here, okay? I'm going to contact your parents and have them come get you, I tell him. Kid finally breaks his silence. Lucky you're one of the good people, Jacob, the kid says nonchalantly, and then rides off down the road. He knew my name somehow. I watch him ride off into the darkness. Who the hell is ordering pizza to my house at 3 a.m? Okay, so not gonna lie, I'm kind of freaking the F out. This has been happening for the past 3 days and I don't know how to deal with it anymore. Some background. I am from Malaysia. I live alone in a budget apartment. Our country has been on full lockdown for over 2 weeks now, and my basic life schedule is completely messed. I'm usually up all night till the morning of the next day, sleeping during the afternoons to late evenings. Rinse and repeat. This was largely okay for me. Being up at night by myself is invigorating, since it's so peaceful and calm. The air is cooler and the world is quiet. Most of the times I just fool around on the internet, reading and watching videos after getting some work done. However, as I mentioned, starting 3 days ago, I've been getting delivery rides coming to my door at the dead of the night, usually around 3 a.m. The first time it happened, I was startled. Sure, I live alone. It's 3 a.m. Getting knocks on your door after putting on my mask, only to see a guy dressed polo shirt with a cap holding a box of pizza, relaxing a bit. I told the guy, "Wrong house, bro," and tried to shut the door to get back to my business. But he stopped me with a, "Please boss, please." I turned back around. The guy tried to push the door pizza box towards me. "Please sir, take it, your order." I shook my head firmly and said, "No, I didn't order anything. You've got the wrong house, man." But he didn't seem to be listening. He kept repeating, "Please boss, take it, your order," while pushing the box to me. At this point, I kind of figured maybe this guy doesn't understand what I am saying, or maybe he was disabled in some way. So I took the box thinking maybe the delivery address would be on it or something. First thing I noticed, that this wasn't the usual chain store brand like Domino's or Pizza Hut. The logo was just Gab in block letters, which isn't a brand I know of. There was no delivery address tacked on the box. I tried asking for a receipt from the guy, but he just shook his head and said, no receipt," while backing away, ready to leave. I tried to stop him to hand him back the box, but he just wouldn't have it. He left hurriedly, and I ended up with a free box of mystery pizza. Now, I probably should be stoked because it's free pizza, but it's 3 a.m. It's from an unknown place, from a brand I've never heard of, and it's delivered by one of the shadiest dudes I've ever met in my life. So I did what any reasonable person should do and left it outside my door, thinking I'll just throw it out with my trash in the morning. My sister always told me to never pick up strange things from outside. Easiest way to avoid bringing in any bad luck or trouble, she'd say. After that, I got back on my computer, feeling just a tad weirded out but not really thinking too much of it. Eventually the sun rose and I went outside to take out my trash. When I got outside though, the pizza box wasn't there anymore. It was a little strange, but I just shrugged it off as maybe the janitor or someone throwing it out for me. I proceeded with my day as usual and almost completely forgot about the whole thing until the knocking came again. I looked at the time, 2:45 a.m. What the hell? I got up, put on my mask, opened the door. A different guy in the same uniform from yesterday stood in front of me, holding yet another pizza. "Sir, your order please, take it." I shook my head. No order, it's not mine, wrong house, man," I told him. This time I managed to just shut the door behind me before he could stop me. I stood by for a few more minutes, watching the guy out of my peephole. At first, he just stared blankly at the door. After it became apparent I wasn't coming back out, the guy just put the box down in front of my door and walked away. Satisfied, I went back to my desk and sat down, grumbling to myself about how bizarre and annoying it is to have this happen twice. Did some troll find my address and is pranking me? But the guy didn't ask for payment or anything. Is it just to harass me? Who would do that? Why me? Attempts to look up the pizza place returned no result, though it is also possible that it is a roadside business with no online presence. While all these thoughts are swirling in my mind, a realization hits me and I feel my heart stop cold. It's locked down right now. No restaurant can operate past 8 p.m. How could anyone be delivering food at this hour? Also, riders are not supposed to walk up to the apartment themselves. They are supposed to leave the food at the guardhouse for pickup. So then who the heck was outside of my door? A chill shut down my spine. Internally freaking out, I quickly crawled to my bed, trying to calm my whirling brain. It's probably nothing. I didn't take the pizza in, and I didn't eat it either. If it happens again, I'll just get security and call the cops. It's gonna be okay. This is real life. This is real life. I repeated silently in my heart, with my eyes squeezed shut, until I finally drifted off to sleep. Day 3. 9 p.m. I wake up and go through my routine, nervously keeping an eye on the time. I tried my best to get my work for the day done, but it was impossible to focus. I kept waiting anxiously for the knocking to come. The clock ticked away. I stared at my computer, desperate for distraction. 2:25 a.m. Bang, bang, bang. Boss, your order, boss. Please, take it. Your order, boss. I froze in my seat for a solid 5 minutes, staring at the door. Bang, bang, bang. Boss, your order, your boss. Boss, your order, boss. I continue to wait without making a sound until the knocking stops. I can't say for sure how long it went on, maybe 10 minutes or so. I kept waiting. The silence stretches on. It's an abrupt change from the incessant knocking just a few minutes prior. I glanced at the clock on my computer. 2:55 a.m. It's been 30 minutes since the first knocks. Gathering all of my courage, I stepped quietly towards the door and peeped out of the peephole, hoping it's all just a big misunderstanding. It's all just a simple mistake, and whoever was outside the door has left like a normal person. But to my absolute horror, the guy was still there, standing straight and staring blankly at my door, holding the pizza box. I gaped in shock. All of a sudden, as if sensing I was there, the guy snapped his head up and stared straight back at me through the peephole. I got so startled, I almost fell backwards. He has no eyes. This guy or thing has no bloody eyes. It's just two gaping eye sockets where the eyeball should be. I stare on, frozen in shock. Slowly his lips started to quirk upwards, curving into a smile so wide it looks downright unnatural. Then, in a cheery voice, bordering excitement, he says, "Saya taho yo ada katsana." This time, I fell back with a loud thud and a yell. I scrambled away from the door as fast as I could, backing into the corner of the room, while keeping an eye on the door. This is when the banging started. Bang, 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 bang. Boss, your order, boss. Your order, boss. Bang, 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 bang. The thing outside kept repeating cheerily in between the non-stop banging. To say I was gonna shit my pants was a major understatement. I was ready to die on the spot, quite frankly, and honestly saw no other way out of this at that moment. I kept my eyes closed, hooded in the corner of the room, just thinking, this is it. I am gonna bloody die. This is it. Suddenly, a loud, angry yell came from next door. Who the hell is making all that noise? I hear thudding footsteps and the sound of my neighbor's door opening. There's a pause. Then it's back to silence. There's no more banging, no more cheery voice repeating, "Your order, boss, your order." I hear my neighbor's door shut and footsteps retreating. Shakily, I stood up and walked to my bed. I curled up under the covers with my eyes shut tight. But sleep didn't come. My entire body was on alert, dreading when the thing will come back knocking, calling me in that cheery voice. Racked with fear and anxiety the entire night, I was still absolutely exhausted when the first rays of sunlight peeked into the room through the window blinds. I checked the time. 6:30 a.m. I crawled out of bed, got dressed and walked down to security. I explained what happened these past 3 nights to the guards, leaving out the fact that what I saw could be inhuman. I suppose I was still clinging to some hope that it was a mistake, that my imagination got the better of me, and his empty eye sockets were just a slight trick of the light. However, after listening to my explanation, the god just gave me a look of confusion and doubt. He tells me that nobody has been allowed up to the complex as per the rules, and even offered to show me the security footage when he saw how scared I looked. When the footage rolled, I can feel the blood draining from my face. It's just as the god says. No one was allowed into the complex at the time of the incidents. As a matter of fact, no one was shown outside my door either. There was nothing I could say. I just thanked the god and headed back to my room. Could I be hallucinating? That could be it. Maybe this lockdown schedule is messing up my brain more than I can take. I thought to myself as I trudged upstairs. As I was about to open the door to my room, however, the next door neighbor steps out. He shoots me a glare and says, "Hey man, what the F was making all that noise at your door yesterday, huh? Don't you have any effing manners? Don't you know 3 a.m. is when people are freaking sleeping? If it happens again, I'll report you, man," before slamming his door shut. He heard it too. He actually heard it. It's real. It's bloody real. Now I'm in my room, typing this out, looking at the clock. It's 1:30 a.m. right now. It'll come soon. I don't know what to do. Update. Hey, so something happened. After last week, I decided to pay a visit to my neighbor. I wanted to talk to him about the knocking thing, since things seem to have settled down. Also to thank him for what I think is him helping me out with the whole ordeal. Anyway, that's how I found myself outside his door at 10 a.m, 5 days after the knocking stopped, with a small box of mangoes in hand. I wanted to clear off any bad blood between us. I knocked on the door a couple of times, then waited. No response. I knocked again harder this time. "Excuse me, hello?" Still no response. At this point, I just assumed he was still asleep. Like I said, lockdown schedule really be bloody effing with us all. I got ready to leave, thinking I'll just come back in this evening or something. Before I could step away though, a loud scream came from inside his room. Go away, piss off, leave me alone." Of course I was startled. He sounded really pissed off, so I just yelled back, "Sorry," and scurried back to my room. I guess I caught him at a bad time. Maybe it was really rude of me to go over so early, or maybe he knew it was me and was still mad about what happened before. Regardless, it was quite clear to me that I probably shouldn't bother him for a while. I could try again next week or something. With that mindset, I just went about my business as usual for the next few days. I've been trying to keep my schedule more normalized, up in the day and sleeping at night, just in case something came bothering me again. Like the wise man in the comment said, "Can't know if there's a ghost or demons trying to get me if I'm asleep." Plus, if anything did happen in the day, I know other people would be around to help. Everything was normal, good even, but yesterday, something happened. I woke up in the morning as usual, but not to my alarms. There were loud sirens coming through from the window and what sounded like people outside my door. Thinking there was a fire or something similar, I quickly jumped out of bed, put on my mask and headed out the door. The first thing to hit me was the waft of unbearable stench. It smelled like something that had been rotting for days. It was so pungent that it still got me reeling back even with my mask on. The second thing was my neighbor. I haven't mentioned this before because I didn't think it was relevant, but he is a fit man in his early 30s. Very much the kind of guy who works out on the regular and watches what he eats. But right then, as he was being carted off the stretcher by the paramedics, he looked more corpse than human. Now, I know why people use the phrases skin and bones. He was literally just that. Barely a person at all. His limbs looked like fragile sticks, with his head lolled to one side. Facing me, I could see that his eyeballs were sunken deep into his sockets, reminding me of what I saw at my door just last week. "What's going on?" I asked the policeman by my door. He glanced at me and just told me to go back inside. The rest of the onlookers were also shooed back into their own homes. There was nothing else I could do. I went back inside, tried to calm down and go about my day as usual. But I just couldn't get the image of my neighbor, what was essentially just his bones on the stretcher, out of my mind. What the hell happened? Is he dead? That's all I thought about for the rest of the day. When night came, I couldn't even sleep. The whole thing's got me paranoid again, and my mind was in overdrive. I can't help but think that what happened to my neighbor had something to do with me. Or more precisely, the thing. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? The thing stopped bothering me the day after my neighbor yelled and went outside. Did that thing make him like that? Is it my fault? I tossed and turned all night, feeling worse and worse by the minute. In the end, I couldn't even feel safe lying down, so I sat up and just stared at the door again. It's like I was back to last week, full of dread and anxiety. The clock kept ticking, and I kept watching, just squirming and staring, waiting and waiting until daybreak. At 7 a.m, when it got bright enough, I went down to the security guard again, hoping he might know what happened. I am not sure if it was good luck that he did know. Turns out my neighbor has been starving himself for almost 5 days inside his house. It was just pure luck that the cops managed to get to him in time. His brother had asked for a checkup since he hasn't been answering his phone and hasn't been showing up for work. Why the hell was he starving himself? No one knows but him. It wasn't like there wasn't any food in his home. There was something set on the table when the cops went inside to check. Presumably the last thing he ate, but apparently it was so rotted they couldn't tell what it was. That was what the effed up smell was. Now here comes the part that brings me here today. The guard told me he found something strange that he wanted to show me and motioned for me to come into his office. He still remembered me from when I asked him about the delivery man coming in. I followed him and he shows me the security footage of our floor from last night. The first video is from last Monday, the 21st 3 a.m. I remember. This was the second day of me not getting any knocks on my door. In the bizarre video, my neighbor had flung his door open, seemingly quite pissed. However, after that, he just stood by the doorframe. It looked as if he was talking to someone in front of him, despite there being nobody. He was gesturing angrily, shaking his head and hands like he was saying no. It was reminiscent of the Elisa Lamb security footage, just downright unsettling. After a few minutes of that, he seemed to stop abruptly, pick up something from the bottom of the screen. Then he turned around back into his house and shut the door behind him. I paled. The footage over the next 2 nights just showed similar footage of my neighbor angrily flinging open his door, looking around and going back inside, always at or close to 3 a.m. On the 4th day though, I saw myself with my box of mangoes waiting outside his door. That was the day he screamed at me to go away. My worst fear was being confirmed right before my eyes. It got him instead of me. I just know you guys might think it's just me overthinking, but how else would you explain it? It could have been me on the bloody stretcher. It could have been me starving to death in my bloody house. The only reason the thing left me alone was because it got someone else. After seeing that, I just rushed back to my room as quickly as I could. I've got to leave this place. I'm not bloody sticking around until whatever the bloody heck it was comes back to get me. I have packed up my things now. I'm going to move back into my parents' house tomorrow. I can't deal with this crap. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's currently 12:52 a.m. I am still looking at the door.
Well, my children, I thank you all for listening. I hope these two 3 a.m. scary stories terrified and frightened you. I'll see you again very soon. So until then, love the darkness as it always follows.